Oh, there we go. Sorry, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to my Photoshopping live stream. I was actually trying to start like in a minute, not just now, but uh, let me know if the audio and video looks okay. I went through and I tried to get my mic settings right, and hopefully everything sounds good, looks good. Seems a little bit hot. I'll turn it down just a little bit. Let me see. So sound and video. I can't see that with my dying eyes. But okay, very good. Chat window over here. Let me fix that real quick. And we will get started. Okay. So where's my chat window? Let me try something real quick. That's not showing. I can't get the pop-up chat to work. Oh, well. Anyway, you can see them on the screen here. So I'll just have to read them a little bit more carefully. Okay. Let me get one more thing. I'm sorry. Like I said, I meant to start in a couple of minutes, but I clicked like the wrong button and it just started streaming live. So give me one more minute, or not a minute, but 30 seconds here. All right. I put a cup of coffee on just before the stream started, and I needed that to brew. This is the coffee that actually Robert gave me that's here today, Robert 809, from, via his brother, Michael. It's greatly appreciated. Okay. So, Black Friday week started, right, this week, if not last week. But Black Friday seems to be starting earlier every year. I mean, it's crazy. But the deals are pretty much set on camera bodies and a lot of the lenses. Some of the lenses might go on sale even a little bit more, but a lot of the deals are set. So a lot of things I covered last week are still on today, except for the things that sold out, like this this awesome, I hope some of you got this deal for $29, but this is sold out. I've been using this in the field quite a bit, and it's been awesome. It's so lightweight and easy to carry. I just slip it in the side of my bag, or even in the bag. It's so small, and it's been working out great. So I'll try and find another deal like this. This is great for macro photography and things like that. Another thing I've been using is a combination of this and this Godox IT20 with that tripod for macro. Now on my OM system cameras, I really don't need this little riser because the lenses are pretty short and small, that the lenses don't get in the way. But since this sits very low on the camera, on larger camera bodies like my Canon and things like that, you do really need to use the riser. This is on sale for like $5 off or $39. And again, I think these things are in my description below. If not, just robtrek.com/deals. And that'll take you to the deals that I have for Amazon. If you need a more, I have several affiliate links set up on another link, robtrek.com/BFD, which just stands for Black Friday deals. And that'll have links to B&H and DxO and things like that. So DxO has a deal right now. I think it's like 17% off or something for DxO Photolab and Pure Raw. It's not as big a deal as they've had in the past. I guess they're doing pretty well, and they're trying to retain as much profit as they can as they're developing the software, because it's getting more and more powerful every year. They added AI selection this year, which has been amazing. I still get a few bugs here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty stable now. I'd say equally as stable as Lightroom in a different way. Because Lightroom, I had like 3 days I couldn't use Lightroom because it kept crashing. I couldn't get it to open. And finally I had to do some sort of reset or something in it that got it back to open again. And it still has trouble importing like video files. So every software, that are this complicated and this sophisticated, there's just going to be bugs. But definitely check out the DxO deals. That's my preferred editor. I always get better results with DxO Photolab. And so we'll cover some of the deals on Amazon today, a couple of things I didn't talk about last week, and then a couple of deals that really you can only get on B&H now because Amazon is sold out. And B&H is a great resource for photographers. When you buy stuff from them, you can be assured that you're going to get the manufacturer's warranty unless it's otherwise stated. But if you buy a brand new camera or lens from them, you're going to get the manufacturer warranty because they're an authorized distributor. So there's some really good perks to buying directly from B&H. I'll try and promote them more in the future. They keep bugging me about, oh, we'll send you cameras and lenses to test so that you can review and give our company more exposure. So I might do that, but I'm pretty content with the cameras I have. So I don't know what I might test, except maybe a Nikon Z6 or something, because I don't have any Z-mount stuff. But okay, let's see if I can get the screen to pop up correctly, and we'll get right into it. I'm sorry, I jabbered for about 8 minutes there. So this is my Amazon shop. So you can get to it a couple of ways, but I made a link, robtrek.com/deals, and that'll take you right to actually this page here. And this is the page where I curate and find the best deals I can, in addition to not just because they're on sale, but because it's a really good product at a really good price. It doesn't necessarily have to be on sale. And right now, the DJI mics, they still have these in stock without the separate charging case. I bought my set here with the charging case. I just found it more convenient. But you can charge, they still give you the little base chargers to charge these things individually, like this, like you see here. But yeah, this mic, like I said, I was testing different microphones today, and I tested it against my USB mic, my GVM mic, which I've been using for the last couple of years on this stream. And this one is definitely clearer. The difference in the quality is because now I'm streaming directly through YouTube instead of through my I forget, whatever platform, streaming platform, Streamlabs. And I found that the video quality is better when I stream directly through YouTube, but the audio quality is the same. So these mics have less background noise, less hissing sound than the GVM mic did. So hopefully my voice is clear and loud enough now. It looks like all the levels look good. But this is the mic I'm using right now, and it's just pinned right under my shirt with a magnet here, as you can see. So it's very discreet and very compact, has really good range. I used it at an event last week or 2 weeks ago for a speaker, and the audio was fantastic for that going through the camera. And then once I delivered the video, which yeah, it came out great. So I like this microphone. That said, B&H has it. Let's see, B&H has, for like $14 more, you can get the carry case with it. Yeah, it's $79 if you want to get the carry case. So I think I have the link for this down below. If not, just click on my any B&H link that I have down below, and then you can navigate to this page. I'll give you the link. I'll put that in the chat section. For this set, if you want to get it with the carry case, so this is convenient because you can charge all 3 devices with one USB plug, and the travel case itself has a little bit of a battery in it, so that it'll, you can charge the case and then wirelessly charge all 3 at the same time. So I think it's worth the upgrade to get this. Like I said, Amazon's sold out, but B&H has it now. So this is the set I recommend. But if you want to save a little money, you can get this one. If you don't need 2 microphones, you can get 1. But I recommend you get 2 microphones because these are easy to lose. Like my GVM mic set, it's not even as small as this, and I already lost one of the mics. So fortunately I had a second one because I got the dual mic set up. But the dual mic setup is nice when you want to interview people and things like that. And I actually paid more for mine. I paid $99 for my set, and it's on sale now for $79 over here at B&H. Okay, I have an array of V60 memory cards here, and I recommend getting one of these 2 here, either Next Storage or Sabrent. These are both very solid brands and very good, very fast cards for your cameras that can support UHS-2, which of course is just about all the modern cameras now support UHS-2. And it'll make a big difference in your buffer performance. So if you're a sports action wildlife photographer, I highly recommend you get a V60 card. They're not that much more expensive than a regular V30 card, but it's like 3-4 times the speed of a V30 card. It's not just double the speed. I mean, it's like 4 times faster. And it's only like 10% slower than a V90 card, in practice, when we're talking about photography and stills. There's very few use cases that you need to get a V90 card and spend 3-4 times as much money. A 128 gig V90 card like this will cost you probably cost you about 130, 140 bucks. There's no reason to spend that kind of money. So I highly recommend these cards. The only reason you would not need to spend, because you could save $5 by getting a V30 card, is sometimes 10 if it's really on a good deal, but generally you can save about $5 off this price. Is if you only do street photography and still life where you're not worried about buffer performance, then this will be fine. I mean, the V30s will be fine. Save $5. This Kodak brand, now Kodak has been, I don't know what their status is now, but they went out of business and sold their branding to other companies. So companies are just using the Kodak label, but these are not actually made by Kodak. But I don't know if that's changed recently. But this card, there's 208 reviews and it's got a 4.6 rating. So that's pretty impressive, and it's $5 cheaper. So I put this here just as a reference. I still recommend you get one of the other 2 cards, but if you want to save a little money and you're on a very tight budget, because maybe you need to buy 4 or 5 of these, right? I think this might be worth a try, right? Okay. And I talked about this Viltrox. The Viltrox 14 millimeter for Sony. They have it for Nikon as well. If you're a Nikon or Sony full frame shooter, this is an amazing lens for the money. You know, wide angle, you don't need a fast wide angle lens. You can get away with f4 no problem. Because you're not going for depth of field typically when you shoot wide angles, so you don't need the faster aperture for depth of field, and f4 is fast enough for most situations except extremely low light. Then it could be a problem, but it's so compact and lightweight. I think the trade-off is fair, and according to Amazon, this is their #1 new release, and I can tell you this lens is very, very sharp. It performs really well for Sony and Nikon. Now, on the Micro Four Thirds side, I've had this lens for a few years now, and I take it out time to time. This is a circular fisheye lens that will give you a full circle, image circle, on a Micro Four Thirds camera. It's the only one that gives you a full image circle. And it actually sees behind the camera. So you have to watch your fingers when you're holding the camera, because you'll get your fingers in the frame very easily, especially if you're shooting like an OM1 that has the grip. This is ideal more for like pen cameras and other cameras that have smaller grips, you know, OM3. But this lens is a lot of fun, and it's very fast at f2.8, and it's pretty sharp. I mean, it's not tack sharp, but it's pretty sharp, wide open. And stopping it down helps a tiny bit, but it's pretty much, when you're shooting a circular fisheye, you know, sharpness is not going to be your problem, right? It's going to be the distortion that you're working with. And getting images out of this, and I have some samples on my Flickr page that I've shown before, but $119, you know, this is a fun lens to have in your bag. You don't really have to worry about autofocus. Just set it to near infinity and you're good, unless you're getting very close to your subjects. Then you may want to try and focus, because you will see it out of focus. But you know, if you set it to just near infinity, like turn it to infinity and just back it off a hair, and everything's going to be sharp in focus. It's an amazing lens, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun to sprinkle in your portfolio with some of these shots if you're doing this for event photography. You know, I wouldn't do the whole event with this, obviously, but, you know, just sprinkle a couple of wide-angle shots in there like this, fisheye shots, and just for fun, right? This lens is not on sale, but I thought this was an interesting lens. There's a $20 coupon here, and it's available for Micro Four Thirds. And as far as I can tell, this is a rectilinear lens. So, you know, if you've been thinking about the 9mm autofocus lens from Panasonic, this is a good alternative, a good budget alternative. Again, if you don't want to deal with distortion and fisheye stuff, this is about as wide as you can get without getting some major distortion. So, and Astahori makes, you know, I've reviewed a few of their lenses in the past. They're well made, generally very, very sharp as well. And there's no reviews on this lens yet, but you know, I have a very high confidence level that this lens will perform well. So it's worth, I think, getting with the $20 coupon. So it'd be like $149. And a good alternative to the much more expensive, you know, Panasonic and Olympus versions, because Olympus has an 8mm fisheye that has, you know, rectilinear correction built in through software, but you know, that's $900, $1,000. The Panasonic is a $500 lens, maybe $600 now. This one is $150. And I think it's a great alternative. Again, you know, autofocus is not as critical on these super wide angle lenses. Okay, and there's some other choices here and other focal lengths. One notable missing lens is the 35mm 0.95. I recommend you avoid that lens. Let me pull it up for you. This lens here, I don't care what brand is on here because everybody sells this. Bright & Star, 7 Artisans, you know, TT Artisans. See, here's the 7 Artisans version. Here's the Bright & Star version. They're the same lens. The problem with this lens is the rear mount touches the metal contacts on the pins in Micro Four Thirds. I don't know how it works on other cameras, but on Micro Four Thirds, the metal mount touches the electronic pins and shorts out the camera, and it doesn't work. You just get a black screen. And it worked for a little while on my EM5 Mark III, but then when the paint on that little metal surface started to wear off because it rubs against the pins, it started shorting out. Strangely, it works on my OM3 right now, but it's not working on any other camera I have. And it's probably just a matter of time. If I keep using it on the OM3, it's going to stop working. But a lot of people bought this straight out of the box. It didn't work with their camera because it was just shorting out the contacts. So avoid this lens for Micro Four Thirds. I don't know about the other camera mounts, but I would not get this lens. And that's why that's not on this list. But there are some decent alternatives here, like this one from TT Artisans that I have on my page. Let me go back to my page. Yeah, this, I don't have it on here. I'm just avoiding 35 altogether. But there's a really nice 23. I've used this lens. And this is a great lens, 23mm f1.4. I've gotten great images with this one as well. Even on Micro Four Thirds, though, it's still a tiny bit soft in the corners. But stopping it down helps quite a bit. But if you shoot it wide open at 1.4, you know, you want to make sure your main subject is mostly in the middle of the frame, you know, in the middle 2/3 and not on the outer thirds. And you'll get a tack sharp image. So it's not really a landscape type lens, but it's a great lens for low light and for doing portraits indoors, you know, capturing people in low light situations, because you don't care about the corners when you're taking pictures of people and things. You care about the center 2/3 where the subject is. And $91, you know, this is a great lens. This is another interesting lens. I've shot with this lens before as well. It's very sharp. It's a great alternative, again, to the 9mm and 8mm fisheye lenses from OM Systems. And this one is even cheaper than the previous one we were looking at. And it's a little bit smaller, but this one has some distortion that you're going to have to correct for if you want to make it rectilinear. It's not a circular fisheye. It doesn't have major distortion on Micro Four Thirds, but you will get some barrel distortion when you use this lens, and it's easily corrected in post, but you don't have to, really. You know, like I said, this is kind of a fun lens to have. So if you don't want, like, if you need something wider than 9mm, and like for doing astrophotography, you know, even 9mm is a little bit tight. If you're doing wide field astro, this is a perfect solution. And it's fast at f2.8, and it is pretty sharp lens. So I can recommend this one for astro. And then I'll get to the chat. I see Larry has a couple of questions, or has a question. So if you have any questions, if you're shopping for something and need a recommendation, you can put those in the chat section now, and we'll try and find something together if I don't have an answer right off the top of my head. I've shot with a variation of this lens. Again, this is rebranded, you know, 10 Ways to Sunday. But this is a good deal. This is a very good lens. 50mm 0.95 manual focus. It's just a little bit chunky, right, on a Micro Four Thirds camera. It's relatively big and heavy. I don't have it anymore, but it, you know, but if you want 0.95, you're gonna have to deal with the big lens, right? And I got some amazing shots out of this lens. You know, it's very, very sharp stop down, wide open. It's a little bit soft, right? Like a vintage lens, but you know, the shallow depth of field and the things that you can do creatively at 0.95 that you can't do with any other lens is always, you know, a lot of fun. So if you want to experiment with low light and with very razor thin shallow depth of field, you can do that with this lens, and it's only $159.99. So again, it's very tight. I wouldn't use it really for portrait work. It's a little bit too tight for, in my opinion, you know, at 100 millimeters, but it's not too bad. You can use it for like headshots. But honestly, I would recommend the 45 1.8, like an autofocus lens that can do eye detect and all that, because the depth of field is so shallow. It's really a pain in the butt to get this in focus if you're doing portraits where, you know, you want to get the eye in focus. But it does have sort of a vintage feel to it. So if you do portraits with it, you will get some really, you'll get a lot of character in your images, right? Just a little bit of softness that, you know, you don't get with, say, the 45 1.8 lens from OM Systems. And yeah, Marco, no problem. If you got anything you want to, you know, put out there, no problem. I think what I can do is, if you email me, I can put your links in the description after the stream is over for people to contact you if you want, or they can just, you can put your email up. I think, let me put you back in. I'm going to put you back in as a moderator. I had some YouTube issues and I had to, you know, to change all my settings, so I took you off as, but okay, now you're back as a moderator. So you can go ahead and post links now if you want directly in the chat section, because the chat room's not too busy anyway. And if you email me the links in a more organized, you know, way that I can post it in the description, I can do that for you. Okay, so Robert got the tripod deal. How do you like it, Robert? It's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, I'm in love with that tripod. This thing is amazing. I would talk about it more during the stream, except that you can't get it anymore, so I don't want to waste people's time with it, but it's a great tripod. Okay, and then let me look at Larry's question again. I think that was the only one that came up first. Paul is here, Jeff is here, good to see you guys. And ATR Bear, good morning. And let's see. I thought I saw a question from Larry about, oh, here it is. Do you mind if, oh wait, sorry, any thoughts on a compact camera for family get-together and general photography? So I assume you mean a camera that has a fixed lens, right? It's not interchangeable. Because otherwise, you know, there's a myriad of Micro Four Third cameras that are compact, right, with a pancake lens of some variety. Okay, so I really like the Sony. Okay, Sony ZV-1. And there's a couple of versions of this. There's a version 1 and version 2. It's $800 now. Okay, well, this is the version 1. I'm just gonna, we're gonna start here, and then I'll give you a couple other options. No EVF, but like you said, this is just for throwing around, right? Taking with you for, how did you word it? Family get-togethers. you know, it has a 1-inch sensor, has a very fast lens at 1.8, so you know it's going to be able to gather some light or work in low light. And I've used this camera a few times, and I've recommended it to people that have bought it, and they're very, very happy. Now, it has sort of a normal focal range of like 24 to 70, something in that range. I know it starts at 24, 25. It starts out fairly wide, so you can get a pretty good field of view for, you know, taking pictures at the table, you know, groups of people, and then you can zoom in and do portraits, right? Headshots, waist up type shots, couples, things like that. And, you know, fully articulating screen, very simple to use, and the autofocus is great. You know, of course, Sony's autofocus is always great, right? And it has some other features in here if you like to vlog and do things like that. But as far as compact cameras go, this is basically the replacement to the Sony RX100 series. The key difference being this does not have a EVF, okay? But other than that, this camera is the replacement to the RX100, because you know the RX100 are asking for well over $1,000 for that thing, and that's just ridiculous, right? I would not do that. That's my #1 recommendation for just a sort of a throw around camera. I wouldn't recommend the ZV-1F, because that's a fixed lens and fixed focal length. You can't zoom her in or out. And so it's just too wide for a lot of things. And let's see, there's some other crap in here. What about this? Canon just released one, right? How are they getting $900 for a camera like this? Okay, the other option, right, is, well, and one other thing with the ZV-1 is it does have a hot shoe. I got this tiny picture here. It does have a hot shoe, so you can put on a little tiny flash like an IM20. Not the IT20. The IT20 might come in a Sony version, but the IM20 full manual flash, and that's another key advantage this has, say, over like the TG7. Because the TG7 is what, $550 now? Something like that. The TG7, great camera, but I wouldn't recommend it for family gatherings in low light. You know, you're going to be struggling. Even with the autofocus, it's going to struggle a little bit in low light with that camera. It's been my experience. And the face detect is a yeah, the face detect doesn't work that well, especially in video. So the other thing is you can record video with the ZV-1 and get very, very nice results with it. So this is the way I go. It's very versatile, compact camera. It's very small. It's not much bigger than a TG7. So that's where I would start. I honestly, now that this is $800 and the Canon is $900, it's ridiculous. Let me check one more place, because my mind, there's so many cameras. I'm just going to go to B&H and take a quick look. And see what they have in the point and shoot arena. Yeah, you know, of course the X100, but these are all out of stock. There's a GR4, 1500. I mean, honestly, I would just get a ZV-1, because these are fixed lens cameras, 28 millimeters fixed. Yeah, it's APS-C, maybe a little better low light performance, but ultimately that's not worth the price. Avoid this Kodak's Pix Pro. This is for kids, really. This Power Shot, again, I would avoid this. I'd rather you buy the TG7 than this, because the TG7 has a flash, but you can't add a flash to it. But I would get the TG7 over this Canon all day long. Primarily because the TG7 has a 12 megapixel sensor, so it's going to have bigger pixels for better low light performance. And this zoom range, and it has a slow, you know, this is like an f3 or f4 lens. The TG7 is an f2, right? Yeah, there's just not much else out there. I wouldn't get a Ricoh. And yeah, this RX100, this is double the price, and the only advantage it has is the EVF over the ZV-1. So this is where I would go. I'm going to see if there's anything else. Yeah, TG7. Like I said, this is not a bad option. So it's either the ZV-1 for $300 more, or the TG7. Now, the Leica Deluxe 8, gosh, this is now $2,000. I mean, money no object. This is going to be better than all, the other two cameras. This is going to be better than the TG7 and the ZV-1. So, I love this camera. I have this camera. If you want to go on eBay and find a used LX100 for about half the price, you could do that as well. The LX100 Mark II, for all intents and purposes, will give you the same image quality as the Leica Deluxe 8. Because I have both, and I cannot see any difference in image quality. And you can get an LX100 Mark II for like $800-900. So less than half the price of a new Deluxe 8. Yeah, this I would get a TG7 over this camera because of the light gathering. It has a slow super zoom in it, and the autofocus is terrible. PowerShot V1, yeah, this is new. I haven't seen this. This is an interesting option. But seriously, I would get the Sony over this. I don't see any reason to get this. It has a slower lens, f2.8. Looks like a smaller sensor. I can't tell. But yeah, I would definitely get the Sony over that. We'll go one more page. Avoid all of these. There's the ZV. Yeah, don't get the 1F. I wouldn't get a GR because it's a fixed focal length. Black TG7 is 600. Man, it's crazy. So that is it. So if you look at this is a great deal. I would go with this camera over all of, over the TG7 and the ZV-1 for family events. That would be, this would get my highest recommendation. Is something like this if you can buy one used. You just have to buy one from a reputable seller. This guy, 98%. That's a little rough. I'd pay a little more and find another seller. Let's see. I'll find one for you. And we'll do... I'm going to say USA only. I think you're in the US, right? Wow, there's only these two in the USA. So between these two, they're just including a leather case and the cover. So I think this is the better deal. Why is this $300? I don't trust that. Yeah, I wouldn't get that. That $300 can't be right. When it's too good to be true, just avoid it. This guy's got 99.6%. There's a coupon code. They're going to give you a half leather case. And it looks like he's got the original box with the JJC automatic lens cap. That's very useful. Something like this. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I'm going to go back to the chat section here. And yeah, JP Steiner says at those point and shoot prices, I'd buy a Pen PL8 or 9 with a kit, yeah, 14 to 42 pancake. I mean, like I said, if you want to fix the lens camera, those are the three options. Otherwise, you know, a Micro Four Thirds pen with a pancake lens would be the best option. And then Larry says, thanks, just the info I needed. Have you heard Lumix may come out with an LX100 III? I haven't heard anything about an LX100 Mark III. Be curious to see what it is, though, because if all they do is repackage the Mark II, that would be a big disappointment, because that's what the Deluxe 8 is. It's basically a repackaged LX100 Mark II for you know, it was at a reasonable price. I thought $1,500 was pretty reasonable when I bought it, because I got it pre-tariff increases, and right now, yeah, at $2,100, I wouldn't buy that. I would buy like 3 used LX100 Mark IIs for the price of one Deluxe 8. And this side towards screen says, I would buy a used Digicam for $50. If it gets wrecked, it's only $50. Okay, so let me tell you the best deal in Digicams. Oh, so the 300 was a, thank you, Brondo Corporation. Yeah, something. I knew something was off. Normally they say for repair. They don't just say used in the description, but anyhow, let me show you the best deal for Digicams. It's something like this. These little Fujifilm XP70. There's other variations. There's an XP probably 80 and 90. But any of these Fuji FinePix XP cameras, these are fantastic. I have one, and it works great. And it's only, what, $50, give or take, you know, with shipping. This is the direction I'd go, and there are plenty available. And they're waterproof, okay? This is what I would do if I was going to buy a Digicam today, because if you try to buy like a Canon, you know, one of the more popular Canon or Nikon, like, what is it? The Canon, I forget what it's called. It's a Canon 100 something. S100? I mean, yeah. This is stupid. A Canon S100? Why? I have this camera. $300? Wow. 2 megapixels. I should sell that thing, man, while people are looking for it. Yeah, you don't need to do that. You're going to get just a good image quality out of this little Fujifilm, and you get Fujifilm Chrome simulation too. It has that built in. Now you don't get raw images or anything, but you know, it's this is a great little camera, and it's waterproof and it's really rugged. All right. Very good. So let me go back to my deal page. I want to show you a couple other things. This, are we on? Oh, we're not. This tripod, there's two variations of this tripod. This is the one that has the gimbal head on it. And it has a leveling base and a gimbal head. So this combination, and it's so compact and lightweight, it's so small. But this combination lets you do multi-row panos. So if you want a really compact tripod that'll do everything, right? It'll do video work if you want to do video panning. If you want to do multi-row panoramas for photography, you can do that. Or if you just want to use it as a regular tripod to mount your camera, and you want something super lightweight to carry with you, this is an excellent deal for $127, and this is a very, very good brand. I can highly recommend this particular price and brand and tripod. A friend of mine bought this one, and she loves it. You know, I have too many tripods. I don't need another one like this, but you know, I have the big brother to this, which is like $300 now. I have the big brother to this tripod. It's, you know, it has the clip links instead of the twist. This is like the twist and pull, like a paint stick. You twist and pull to open the legs and twist them back. The only tricky part to this is you have to make sure they're tight, because they do tend to undo themselves when you're picking the tripod up and putting it down repeatedly. That they tend to come a little loose, so you need to tighten it and make sure everything is tight before you set your camera on it. But there's this one, and then PhotoPro has another one. This one's a little bit more traditional, except that it has an inverted ball head. The inverted ball head allows you to do panoramas, you know, because the leveling base is separate from the rotation. So you can get really nice panoramas with this, just not multi-row panoramas. Multi-row panoramas is a little trickier. You know, you can do it with anything, but if you'd like to do multi-row panoramas, I would get the other tripod. But this tripod will do everything, and it does single-row panoramas because the leveling base and the rotation is separate. And it's very compact, even more compact than the gimbal head, obviously, because the ball head is smaller. And the inverted ball head design takes a little getting used to, but ultimately it's more functional, in my opinion, when you're panning. So you can even use this for video, because you can get a nice level pan in video if you level it. I mean, it doesn't make sense because this is so small, this tripod, but it rises to a pretty decent height, 62 inches. So it's going to be closer to 50 inches or 4 feet without the center column extended. But that's more than enough height, and it's so compact and it's light. So I can highly recommend this. Let me see. I've talked about this a few months ago. You know, I've bought a couple. I love this thing. And I paid $127 for mine, and I thought that was a good deal. But $99.99, man, this is a terrific charger. And it has, I don't use it, but it has an option to use it with an app that'll let you know when your devices are done charging and a bunch of other stuff. And when it's sitting on your desktop, you can connect it to your Wi-Fi, and it'll work as a clock and calendar also. I don't know if it'll do other things. Apparently it has different, you can do all these different displays, and you know, if you want to get all fancy with it, You can do a lot of things when you connect it to your Wi-Fi, but you know, just as a charging station for $99 and it'll do 250 watts, you know, this is an amazing little charger, and it's smaller than you think. It's not very big. I have it here on my desk. I'd show you, but I don't know how to get a camera pointed at it. But it's you know, it's only this big. It's not that big. It's very compact. So I love this thing. And it's, you know, if you don't get it for yourself, you know, we're at that time we need to start thinking about getting gifts. This makes such an awesome gift to any photographer, is something like this. So I would highly recommend this. Okay, and oh, this tripod. Is it even, yeah, it's gone. This is the one that was $29. If I find another deal like that, I'll let you know. Okay, oh, I can't forget about this. I talked about this last week, but it wasn't on sale. But now it's on sale for $63.99, so I bought one. It hasn't come in yet. I should get it in next week. But this is a flash. This is not LED. This is actually a flash, so you're going to have plenty of lighting power, and they throw in a bunch of gels. I'm so excited to get this and start using this, because, you know, I love to do macro photography and close-up photography. I'll show you, if you go to my Instagram or Flickr, I posted some recent pictures where I was just using the little IT-20 on-camera flash to do these shots, right? But it's, obviously I didn't use a flash for that, but yeah, having a flash for macro photography is indispensable. And having a flash that can rotate around and has, you know, you can get the light in front of and behind and on the side, and then use gels for colors. I'm so excited to get this. And it's taking like a week or two to get these things. Like right now, the delivery date is still a week out, right? December, you know, 1 or 2 weeks out. But I would get this before they're gone. This could be like the tripod. The tripod, that thing sold out fast. I know a lot of you bought that tripod just from my stream alone, let alone, you know, Amazon's, you know, audience of photographers that buy stuff. This is another item that I think once it's sold out, it's going to be hard to get later. And I have not found anybody near this price competitively. Because if you go down to, like, you know, similar devices, these are all LED devices. These are not bright enough for outdoor use. Okay, you might be able to get away with LED outdoors and very low light, but you have to slow your shutter speed down or crank up your ISO. That's why I never bought any of these. Even though the pricing is very attractive, like in the 30s. Well, the small rig is 50 bucks. That's crazy. And that thing better be like a frickin' lighthouse if it lights up for 50 bucks. I'd rather buy like a, camping flashlight, like a tactical light, than, you know, for 50 bucks, you can get one heck of a tactical camping light. But anyhow, this, you know, there's nothing else like it. You know, you can get a ring flash, or like a ring flash, but look at that, man, $160. And it's not as good, you know, and that's still front lighting. That's not lighting coming from the sides or from the back, and certainly not like mixed colors with gels and things. You know, rather than a ring flash, I would just rather buy like an IT-20 and a diffuser, or an IT-30 with a diffuser. And you'll get just as good a result as you would with a ring flash. So definitely, you guys, if you're doing into macro photography at all, or close-up photography, the 12 to 45 Pro gets really close up to your subjects. I mean, a couple inches, right? You can use this with your 12 to 45 Pro or your kit. Well, the kit lens, I don't think the close focusing is quite there. But the, you know, the 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro, you know, if you have either of those lenses, this is an awesome addition even for that. But I'm planning on using it, obviously, with my macro, my 60 macro lens. Okay, and I will just touch on two bags. This is as good a deal as you're ever going to get on this bag, $34. If you want a nice canvas camera bag, shoulder bag, if you like this style, and you know, canvas is generally very durable, and a few people have bought this and told me they like it a lot. So I have no problems recommending this bag. It's not the same $25 deal that I got last year on a different canvas bag, but I haven't seen a $25 canvas bag since that deal last year. And you guys know I'm looking almost every day for deals like this. And this is it. So $34.40 for a really nice little canvas bag. This does go on sale on and off for like the $38 to $40 range. But right now at $34.40, I've never seen a better deal. The only time this is going to be on a better deal is if they go out of business, or like go out, meaning, they're just running the stock out. But who knows when that's going to be, right? Like this tripod that I bought, I guarantee this was like GVM is getting out of the tripod business and they're just getting rid of their stock. You probably won't see GVM tripods anymore for a while anyway. And that's the only, but Caddy is a very popular camera bag company. So this is probably going to be around a while. And if you're looking for one, this is a good deal. And then this is kind of a new up-and-coming bag company. I've never heard of SDYSM. But this bag, 4.7 star rating, right out the gate. This hasn't been on the market too long. $37. This is a killer deal. And they give plenty of dividers, right? Tripod, hanger on the bottom, hard shell on the outside. What's not to like? Side pocket, or side zipper pocket with some extra pockets to hold batteries and memory cards. I mean, this is an amazing little backpack for $37. And like I said, it's already got really good reviews. So I don't see any. It looks like it comes with a little lens case too. I mean, lens case alone is worth $10, right? So, like I said, I got a million I got more than enough backpacks now, so I don't need another one. But I would buy this myself if I needed one, definitely. Let me go down. And that's kind of the same thing. Yeah, this one from K&F, and there's another one from Osisu. They're like in the $50 range, right? And it's basically the same thing as this, but this one is $37. Okay, and then there is one. This was on sale last week for $15, but $20 is still a good deal. This is a nice shoulder bag, but this one here for $25 or $26. This is a nice bag. This is like a Peak Design imitation, and I really like the divider in this one. And I mentioned this one last week, but I'll mention it again because it's still a good deal. Because K&F, I have the K&F version of this, and you can see the K&F one runs between 29 and 38. So if you want to get the same color, it's it's $38. You can get the gray one like I have. That's not a bad deal for the gray one, but this is basically the same bag. It has the same divider system. And it's a great little bag, holds a lot of stuff, but if you can get this one for $25, why why spend $30 or $38, right? Okay, let me go to the chat section. But that's the main things. Well, let me just check B&H real quick. Oh, this one. Okay, B&H. They had this at Amazon. I bought one, but they're sold out now. $169.99 for a 14 terabyte external drive at B&H. Okay, so click my B&H link down below and then navigate to this particular page. So let me get the link for this one. If you need some more storage space, this is a deal. This one here, this drive goes on sale maybe two. I've only seen this drive on sale twice, like Prime Day and Black Friday. Otherwise, you're paying $200 for this drive. Normally, it's like in the $220 range throughout the year, but Prime Day and Black Friday, it goes on sale for $169, and that's what I paid for mine. So I can recommend this drive. And then B&H also has the Tamron. If you have a Sony camera or Nikon, is the Nikon on sale? No, the Nikon's not on sale. But the Sony version here for $699, this is a terrific lens for $699. You know, standard zoom range, 28 to 75 at 2.8. Image quality, you don't need to worry about that. But the key thing here is that it has linear focusing motors, not stepping motors. So it's going to be very fast autofocusing. And, you know, 109 5-star review, well, 96 5-star reviews. Okay? So let me put this link in for you. And then I'll go to the chat section and we'll just make it an open Q&A from here. So that's the deal. So those are my best deals this week. If I find anything else, I'll post them on my community page. So you know, check my channel community page time to time and see if there's anything new that pops up. Because if a deal like this pops up, this is something that will go on my community page. The 3 flash. Mini micro 3 head flash, that's on my community page because that's a good deal. So those are the kind of things I post on my community page. I try not to post because, you know, there's good deals on a lot of stuff right now, but I try to post the ones that are kind of the kind of things that you better get it now or you're not going to see it again ever. And I'm afraid that 3 head mini flash might be one of those things you won't see again, primarily because it's kind of a niche product, and I don't see too many other third-party people jumping in on that bandwagon to offer competition and make it, you know, they're just not going to make enough money. So I feel like once that thing is gone, we'll probably just never see it again, something that unique, without spending $200-300. Because there's $200-300 versions of that from other manufacturers, I'm sure. I've seen variations of it. Not exactly like that. Some of them mount onto your lens and they're dual flash. It's expensive stuff, man. Something like that, $63. Man, that's a deal. Okay. So JP Steiner says, is there a technical reason why only certain lenses support in-camera focus stacking in OM system cameras? Is there something in the lens design? I don't know what the technical reason is. I do know that the in-camera stacking takes into account the aperture and the focal length, right? So when you attach a 60mm macro lens, which is compatible with the in-camera stacking, the algorithm for in-camera stacking can work with that focal length and aperture, and it knows exactly the stepping motor, right? Because the 60 macro uses a stepping motor, not linear motors. So it knows exactly how much to increment things. When you attach a lens that is not compatible with in-camera stacking, you know, that lens could have linear motors. It could have stepping motors, but it doesn't, but the you know, the algorithm doesn't know exactly what the steps are on that stepping motor. So I'm reaching, okay, a little bit why I think that what the technical reason is. I don't know for a fact, but you know, I can speculate it has to do with the stepping motors and the algorithm not knowing exactly how much to increment the lens for the stepping algorithm. And I'm not familiar with any other cameras that do in-camera stacking. I mean, Canon does in-camera stacking, but you have to use Canon lenses. So but I don't know if it works with all their lenses, right? And Sony does, no, Sony only does focus bracketing. It doesn't do stacking. Yeah, I think everyone else just does stacking. Canon is the only one that does in-camera stacking, as well as OM Systems. Panasonic used to do in-camera stacking, but I don't know if there's any limitations on lenses. I don't think there were. I think it worked with all their lenses. So I don't know why that's the case, though, honestly. And this side towards screen says, I need to do a photography stocking stuffer list of under $20. Gosh, how many things can you buy for less than $20 that could be a gift? I can't even think of anything. I mean, most of the things that would be, most things I think photographers would want as a gift are the things they would not buy for themselves. They would buy a cheap version, like that charging station that's $99, for example, right? Most people wouldn't buy that for themselves. They would just buy like the $25 version, right, from whatever XYZ Chinese company. And that'll suit them just fine. They don't care. But if they got one as a gift, a nice charging station like that would be amazing. Gosh, what else? You know, like these tiny flashes, even those aren't even $20. Those are like $30, $40. But a tiny flash, that's something that most photographers probably wouldn't just buy unless they, you know, because they'd rather use like a real flash, right? But as a gift, that would be kind of a cool little gift. Like I gotta review this IT20. I was supposed to do it last week. This is very unique. I don't see a lot of use case for this for most photographers, but for people that just want a simple flash and really compact, this is fine. But it's very limited use case, right? You certainly couldn't use this for portrait photography or studio photography. But yeah, I should come up with like something like unique gifts for photographers. I used to have a list. Let me just double check my page real quick. I did have a list of unique items somewhere. I think I called it the little things that help. Oh, just real quick. Like here's like a generic charger that's basically the same thing as the Anchor one for 56, well, $50 because there's a $5 coupon. This is not on my deal page. I should add it. But this is a good alternative. It's essentially the same thing. It has the same number of ports. It has the LED display. It just doesn't have the Wi-Fi and the app and, you know, the fancy pants stuff, right? But here's some gift pics. Okay, so yeah, every photographer needs to get a coffee mug, a lens coffee mug, right? Sometimes gloves. I gotta update this. I haven't updated this in 10 months. These filter wrench. Okay, so yeah, actually I probably could come up with a list of $20 items, but a lot of these things are more than $20. There's a flash ring for the TG7. Ooh, the Lux Master's on sale too. Wow, there's a lot of things on sale here. But you know, like a Peak Design strap. I would never buy a Peak Design strap for myself because they're just so expensive. But if I got one as a gift, definitely I would use it. Either one of these. This is a little wider strap for your, you know, heavy camera lens combos. This is probably better for your Micro Four Thirds stuff. You know, dual camera straps. These tactical flashlights, super bright. You know, I would buy this instead of that small rig thing. But yeah, this would be all right. I'll update this. Gift picks for photographers, and I'll try and put as many things in here that are less than $20. Okay. Yeah, this side towards screen says Amazon had that 14 terabyte. Yeah, I bought it when it was on Amazon, but it's, you know, on Prime Day. When they had it on sale at Prime Day, and I bought one. And it's been like 220, give or take, since then. And now on Black Friday, it's back down to 169. But Amazon's out of stock. So get it from B&H. And Paul says, focus breathing is the reason that OM system gives, but it doesn't. But it does crop the image, so this doesn't sound at all believable. Just want you to, I guess, no, but more expensive. Just want you to buy more expensive lenses. I think what you're trying to say. Could be a marketing thing, right? Like I said, I don't know. I don't know why. Because all the cameras do all lenses will do focus bracketing, right? So in theory, the algorithm should be independent of the focus bracketing, but for whatever reason, you know, they limit it. And I think he said, Paul said, Panasonic has added camera focus stacking to the latest S series. It's not limited to Lumix lenses. So the Sigma lenses then would be the other alternative, right? That's cool. I got to get back into the L mount. I just can't decide what camera to get for the L mount, you know? Because I got tempted by that Sigma BF. That's a nice little L mount camera, very unique. And then, but I really want an S1R Mark II, but that's so, you know, it's so expensive. It's like $1,000 more than the BF. I mean, I know it's worth $1,000 more, but it's $1,000. And then, you know, if I was more pragmatic, I could get the S9 instead of the BF, right? Because they're basically the same camera, but one has more stuff on it, and the other one is just more unique, right? Like a silver BF or an all black S9 for half the price. Both of them have, you know, and the S9 is better in every way than a BF, I think. But you know, if I get an L mount camera, I'd want it to be a little more capable. So I'm thinking now, because the S5 Mark II is on sale for like $1,500. That's pretty tempting. That's pretty tempting. I don't know, because I don't really care about videos, so the video limitations like the cropping and 4K and stuff don't bother me so much on an S5 II. But the S1 II, not the S1R, but the S1 Mark II, that's a little bit too pricey. You know, it has the stack sensor, or partially stacked sensor. You know, for that kind of money, I could you know, I think a Z6 III is like $1,000 less, right? Or it's some amount of money less. So I don't know. I'm leaning right now S5 Mark II, because I can get a used one for about $1,300, and then I can get all the glass that I'd want for it, you know, used, or when they go on sale, sometimes there's some really good deals. And the Gray Vanzini, oh, David came in. Hey, David, and the Gray Vanzini, good to see you guys. And this side towards screen says, Rob, buy both of them. You don't have to worry about choice, right? Get an S9 and a BF, or BF and an S1R Mark II. Wow, what would that be? That'd be about $5,500. You know what? I'd rather buy the 150 to 400 lens. You know, for a little bit more. Find a used one, maybe. Man. Or, you know, I got terrible gas. Like the 90 macro is like really high on my list of lenses to get. I mean, I like the 60 because it does allow you to, you know, it's not so tight, because 90 millimeters, that's pretty freaking tight. If you want 2x macro, yeah, then 90 millimeters it. But I like doing mushrooms and flowers. I don't really need a 2x macro for that. If I was doing insects, then a 2x macro would make sense. But I think, you know, the 60, I was thinking about maybe going and getting the 30 millimeter for even wider field of view and doing macro with that. Because I don't need 1-to-1 all the time. I need it sometimes, right? Like when I'm doing bugs. If I was doing bugs all the time, I would, yeah, the 90 macro is the way to go. I'd love to get the 90 and the 30. Because the 30 you can use almost as a normal lens. And then you can get really close. It would be a great walk-around lens, I think, 30 macro. Paul says, I can recommend the 150 to 400. Absolutely. Oh, man. So what have you guys been up to? I got a lot going on. Golly, I went out and shot some swans yesterday and did the macro that I showed earlier, and I took pictures of some trees. I love trees. Even though I don't do a good job on taking pictures of trees, I love taking pictures of them. And let's see. I did talk a lot on Sunday. I had a 3-hour marathon on Sunday. I don't know how much more I can add, but since Sunday I did a lot of photography yesterday. I did a lot. Exhausted me. And David says, I saw with the tariffs, the 150 to 400 is $9,000. And Paul says, I can get 1-to-1 with the 150 to 400 and an MC20 at 1.3 meters. Jeez. Wow. So you can be like this far away and get 1-to-1? Oh my God. That's insane. And this side towards screen says, over the winter here in New England, I'm going to organize my photography and get dedicated studio place in the house. Yeah, I converted my dining room to a studio. So You know, I don't have kids or a family or nothing. What do I need a dining room for? You know, I eat on the sofa with a little table. Why is my phone going off? Oh, eBay. I've been buying so many things on eBay. I got this huge watch list now. Just clothes. But I think I'm done. I bought like 7 coats. Crazy. But they were all such good deals. Couldn't turn them down. I think it's yeah, you get that, like I was saying, you get a dopamine hit when you hit that buy button. It's like, yeah, I got a good deal. I would like to return 2 of them because they don't fit quite right. But I think I'll get my mom to tailor them a little bit, like hem the sleeves and maybe tighten the sides. I wear a size, I've been wearing a size medium forever, and now when I buy size medium, they're all kind of big on me. So, you know, since I lost all this weight, they all look humongous on me, and they just feel loose, and they look big on me. So I have to start buying size small jackets. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I encourage you guys to check out the deals that I showed today. If there's anything that interests you there, you know, I could talk about flashes. You know, I'm gonna do a video on this. I don't know why it's so hard to make a video on stuff. You know, you know, I watch a 10-minute video. I'm like, oh, I could make a 10-minute video like in an hour. But it takes me days to take photos using this stuff, and then it takes me a couple of days to edit and make content, and it's just I can't figure out why. I don't know why I can't just, like on a live stream, just turn the camera on and talk about it and be done. Ugh. And the Great Vanzini says, do you think there'll be even more Black Friday deals? So what I find is usually in January is when you'll get more deals, right? Like clearance stuff. People are gonna, you know, they overstocked and they're gonna clear out things like they thought would do better than they did. So that's when I think I'll see. But I think a lot of the camera deals, they're gonna be done. If you're looking at a camera or lens right now, now is the time to get it. If you're looking at certain accessories, unless they're things like that little tripod and flash, 3-headed flash, there's a few things in the accessory side that, yeah, you should get now while you can. Like some of the bags. There's no reason not to get them now. They're as good a price as they're ever going to be. They might go on sale again later for the same price, but they're not going to be cheaper. You know what I mean? And then I would say, but then there's going to be things that go on sale that you weren't expecting, right? To go on sale for cheaper than they were on Black Friday. Those are going to be things like, what kind of things do I normally see? Normally things like filters and tripods and some varieties of camera bags and backpacks. You know, the accessories that we always buy that didn't go on as good a deal as they could have, they might bring those prices down. And then maybe a lens here and there. You might see a better deal in January. But right now, so in January, what you're going to find are deals on the weirdo stuff that you maybe didn't know you needed, but now it's such a good deal, you might as well get it. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of things you see in January, but I don't see much happening between now and Christmas. You know, they might spread out, or yeah, you might see a little bit more spread on the deals coming closer to December. But the problem is the things that you really want and that you want and you want to get a good deal on, they're going to be sold out. Like that 16 terabyte hard drive, gone on Amazon. This tripod, gone. You know, it's going to be hard to get those things again until they get back in stock, if they get back in stock. And they're not going to be a better deal ever. So if there's anything on my deal page, you know, I would get anything on my deal page right now. Those are probably going to be the best deals you'll get. And even if they do go on sale again later, they're not going to be cheaper. If they are, only a little bit. So that's what I think. And any thoughts on the small rig macro light? Yeah. So let's look at that real quick. So it has a good CRI, right? Looks like it's RGB. 5 colors. Interesting. What I want to know though is the light output. A couple of accessories. These are mildly useful. So yeah, you can go from 65 to 22. Built-in battery. But I don't see anything about how bright it is. 5-level brightness. That doesn't tell me anything. This little diffuser on here is ridiculous. That's only going to work on a scene like this. Because, you know, this light spreads around and can bounce off the rocks, bounce off the algae. And then, yeah, that's going to give you a little diffusion. But for the most part, this diffuser is useless. Unless you're in a very specific closed area like that. So this mounts. So that's pretty substantial in size. Heavy duty clamp. Weak spring, hard to adjust. Okay, so I'll say this about the small rig. It looks like it's very, very high quality. Oh, here's some specs. So 5 volt, 1 amp, fine. Oh, 3 watts. Oh. All right. This is going to be a little bit limiting. So it's basically a spotlight, right? And it's only 3 watts. So those little gobo things they had, those are going to be useless. 3 watts is not enough power to put a gobo on there. You know, like they had the window frame and stuff like that. The accessories I see with this are pretty useless. The diffuser, mostly useless. The barn doors, mostly useless. Okay? Because it's a spotlight anyway. The light's not going to spread out that much. But if you just need one little spotlight, right? And you need really accurate colors. Because, yeah, some tactical lights have terrible color rendering. But and it has some what do you call it? Like it is made for using with, you know, because of the 1/4-20 screw, it makes it easier to use with photography, mounting, you know, all the mounting options you get with this. But 3 watts ain't going to cut it outdoors unless, like I said, you know, this, you'll notice all of the examples they're giving, these are very, very low light. Oops. All the examples they're giving here are very low light. You know, you're not going to use this in broad daylight. And this diffuser, very, very limited use. It has to be a scene like this where everything is tight and close together, that you can have the light spec, and it's wet, right? So you're going to get some nice speculars from diffusing the light too. Like it's going to spread even more. There's just, yeah, these are all very low light examples. This is not going to cut it. Indoor studio, very low light here, right? So this is a very niche product, very niche. The flash that I was showing you earlier, which is what, $14 more than this, is going to be 10 times more versatile because you get 3 heads, and you're going to get you probably, you know, you're going to get effectively 100, 200 watt. Well, and a 100 watt LED light is not as bright as I think this flash will be able to generate. I mean, once it comes in, I'll be able to test it and tell you how good or bad it is. But my initial buying decision, I would never buy this light for myself. I'd rather just use a pocket flashlight that I buy for like 20 bucks. I got 3 flashlights coming in that I paid $1 for. You know, and that'll be just as good as something like this for all intents and purposes. I just don't see, unless this is like a perfect solution. You know, it's like a lot of tools, right? There's a lot of tools that you can get by and it'll work fine, it'll get the job done, you know, like a flashlight. But if you need something very, very specialized, something that is going to be perfect for what you're doing, then yeah, you can spend 50 bucks and you're going to get a quality product from Small Rig. But you know, this is just a little bit too niche and too, yeah, it's just too niche, too limited. So yeah, Paul, I wouldn't recommend it unless you have a very specific use case for this. Because 3 watts, that's not much. It's going to be fairly bright when it's pinpointed, right, into a small area, because it looks like there's a little bit of a lens on the front to focus the light down. But again, this is going to be in low light situations. In bright sunlight, 3 watts ain't going to cut it. So Balvin Patel says, looking for tall 62 without column, 72-inch with column for OM1 and a 150. Already have a few light shorter tripods. Oh, all right. You're going to want, let me go to my tripod page, and then we'll see if we can find a deal. Oh, this was the deal of the century, this Artisy. That would have been perfect. Let's see if I have anything else listed. Leo Photo, I guess it depends on your budget. Leo Photo makes a good one. Let me see what's going on with this Artisy. Sometimes, yeah, this would have been perfect. If I recall, this was only $200 with the ball head. I don't think this went up to, you were looking for 72 inches, man. I don't think this went up to 72 inches, but yeah, this went to 66 inches, but this doesn't have a center column, right? This is 66 inches without a center column, carbon fiber for 200. How about this one? Oh, maybe it's over here now. It's been relisted. And there's a coupon here for 13%. And it has a 52 millimeter ball head. So that's going to support the 150 to 400, no problem. Okay, this has a huge ball head on it. This is the one I recommend. 12 5-star reviews, because this is, they relisted this, and it comes with a nice little bag down here. So I love these little bags. So let me give you the link to this one. So I believe that was 66-inch tripod. Let me look again. Oh, this maximum height is 72 inches. Oh, so it's been updated. Right here, 72. So do they have a diagram? See, it's 66 inches here. That's just like the one that's been discontinued. But then, how do you get it to 72? It's very confusing. I don't see any reason that this is 73 inches. Because there's no center column. That would be my first option. And then to get to 72 inches, you'd have to attach a separate center column. Like, you'd have to buy one. They sell the center column extenders. Let's see. 81-inch. How are they getting the 72 inches? They must be talking about a monopod mode or something. But okay, there's that. Let's look at this one here. This is quite a bit more expensive. Wellian is a really good brand. The Artisy was a good brand. This is the same tripod, but they want 272. So I would get, yeah, this is just rebranded. The Artisy and the Wellian are exactly the same tripod because they're using the same graphics. This one includes the center column though. So it's 66-inch without the, without the center column. But they're including the center column, and that'll go up to 83 inches. So I think this is your best bet. Let's see if we can find a deal. I'm going to put the link for this one, okay? Of course, it seems like kind of a premium to pay 50 bucks for a center column, but that's an all-in-one solution. So that's another option, but let me see if I can find a deal on one. Because like I said, a lot of things are just branded 10 different ways. You just have to find it. Why is this one $10 less? The other thing I'll mention is that here's one for $10 less. It's the same tripod, I think. Oh, but it might be the ball head is different. This has a, this has a smaller ball head. This has a 44, it's the 44 millimeters is still more than enough. But I think in your case, I'd rather get the other one that has the 55 millimeter ball head. And 32.5 millimeter tube, that's pretty good size. That's going to be more than enough for to handle the weight of the 150 to 400. I would spend $10 more though and get the other one because I think this other one here, this one here had the bigger ball head. Does it say? This is a 40 millimeter. That's not good. This has the bigger ball head and it's $10 less. All right, so that's not bad. Let me look here. What's that? No, don't get that. Nothing good here. Nothing good here. Let's see what that is. This is... I don't recommend this one. I don't like the inverted legs. I don't recommend this one. And this is going to have skinny... Well, this has 32 millimeter legs. 72 inch with the center column. What is it without the center column? $61. 72. This is not a bad option, actually. Let's see what the ball head is. The ball head is 44 millimeter. This is another good option, 209. Wayland and Artisy. It looks like they're in the same... It's the same brand. But something about this just doesn't feel right. But it looks okay. The problem with this tripod is to make it compact, you have to invert the legs. If you don't mind inverting the legs, you can spend a lot less money. And the center column is integrated into the base. So I'll put this as another option. So here's the link to this. So what I'll do is I'll add this. I'm going to add these to my deal page because it is a good deal for the money, even though they're not really on sale. These are really good tripods for the money. So I add that one. And then the other one that has, yeah, this has the column included and the 44 millimeter ball head. But those are the things I look for in a tripod: is the ball head size, the diameter of the carbon fiber tube, and then how the legs invert, if they invert or collapse in. Usually the ones that collapse in are easier to carry around, and the few times that you might need to extend to a higher height, you know, I'll use a center column extension. But you get much more stability without the center column being integrated into it, right? The tripod's going to be inherently more stable. In practice, I can't tell much difference whether the column's integrated into the tripod or it's separate, but best practice, you want to buy the sticks without the center column. So at least 32 millimeters, right, on the legs, 44 millimeter on the ball head. That should be more than enough. I like the other one because that had a 55 millimeter ball head, and then the legs, right? Whether they invert or not. If they don't, because if they invert, that means you have a center column. I just don't like those. They don't pack down as nice and compact. I like a nice small, like this one, like this little mini tripod, no center column, so it compacts down nice and small, and I can slip this into the side of my bag. For my bigger tripods that don't have a center column, or they do, but they're triangulated, they fit down nice and tight. Whenever you have to invert the legs, you know, they just don't fit into the side of a backpack or side of a bag very easily if it's a smaller style. So I think it's worth the extra money to get the ones that collapse down like this. But yeah, tube diameter, I would, for what you're talking about, I would go 32.5, because what you probably have now are 25 millimeter tubes on your tripods. That's the most standard size for most tripods without, you know, upgrading. Ball heads of 44 millimeters. Let me, where was the one that had, where's the one that had the 55 millimeter ball head? It was this one. Yeah, this is the one. I'm gonna add this to my deal page too. Oh, they're out of stock though. All right, so we had to go here. Yeah, this is the one I used to recommend because it had everything: 55 millimeter ball head, 32 millimeter tubes, and you know, solid design, no center column, and it was 66 inches tall. So it had everything for 200 bucks. But now we have to go to this one. The compromise being is this has, oh, this has the 52 millimeter ball head. My bad. But no center column. So this is pretty close, and you can get this for under 200 bucks with the coupon. So I add that to the deal page. And then, yeah, this one, I'm not a fan of these inverted legs, but okay. Heather says, can you use a tripod as a monopod by not extending two legs? Thinking a monopod would be a benefit for long walks. You can, but it's a little awkward. Yeah, you can. It's just awkward like that, right? Most people use monopods because they're holding it, and they might have a gimbal on top, and they're, you know, if you want to use them, you know, I rarely use the leg on my tripod as a monopod, the ones that detach, because they don't have the feet on them. You know, monopods I like with the little three-legged feet on the bottom, and then, you know, they're very stable, and then you can attach a gimbal on the top, and that's what I do. Let me show you my monopod. I mean, you know, these tripods that convert to a monopod, they're okay, but I just find that having feet on the bottom makes a huge difference. So I buy a dedicated, you know, I bought a dedicated monopod, right? That's going to be much more stable, much stronger, and the head rotates. This is, you know, with the legs on the bottom. And this is like $130, you know, I paid $120 for this. And then I bought this, I paid $60 for this gimbal. And takes a little getting used to. But yeah, if you're going to start doing monopod stuff more often, you definitely want to invest in a good monopod. And then if you do birding and stuff, maybe a gimbal like this would be useful. Because this also converts, I don't need it anymore, but I used to use this as a tabletop tripod because this pops off, and then the head pops off very easily, like this. And now I have a tabletop tripod, right? But since I bought this and another one that I have, I don't really use it like that anymore. But extending one leg out, I don't know. It would just be awkward to hold the monopod, but you could do it. And Heather says, I'm just old and some of the bigger lenses get heavy. Yeah. Yeah, you could do it, but you're better off just buying a monopod with some legs on it at the bottom. And that'll be much, much better. Okay. Any other questions? Those are my tips so far. I just don't like the idea of like this tripod. I mean, I've probably done it before, but if I extend this out, yeah, you could do it. It's just weird holding the tripod. It's, you know, it's already top heavy, and then you add your camera, it's going to be even more top heavy. So it's just kind of weird. But, you know, like this is a 25mm tube diameter. When you get down to the bottom, you're down to like half that, right? Versus this one here. Look at the difference in tube diameter between these two. There's no, you know, and this is the smallest tube diameter here. I have a caliper. Let's see what the tube diameter is. Yeah, this tube diameter is 25mm. This is as thick as the thickest one on my other tripod. And then the thickest part, this is a 36mm tube here, 36. So this is pretty heavy duty. And I think my Coleman tripod here, this is a 25, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 25, almost 26. We'll just say 25 though. All right. Oh, wrong. I was wondering why that wouldn't go down. This tripod has also been rebranded a couple of times. This one's the Coleman. You also find this in Ulanzi and now GVM. GVM is the cheapest variety. Although this is on a Black Friday sale now, so you can get this one the same price as the GVM, like 180 bucks. This is a great little compact travel tripod. Not as small and light as the one I showed earlier. But, you know, this is going to be inherently more stable, right? Okay, so why don't we call it, everyone? Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If there's anything else you guys want to look for, let me know. I'll do my best to find them because we're going to be shopping between now and probably the second week of December, right? And we're always shopping for ourselves regardless of holidays. And I'm always looking for deals because I want you guys to get a good deal. You know, because I'm always shopping for deals. I want you guys to get a good deal for a decent product, you know. I don't recommend high-end products that are, of course, going to last forever, right? But a lot of us don't need that, you know, like $29, man. I hate to keep harping on this thing, but this thing is amazing for $29. All right, so, and thank you, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I almost forgot. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I'm very thankful for all of you for joining me every week. For those of you that are very regular, and for anyone new here, thank you for joining me today. you know, I'm very down to earth, and I try to make photography affordable and help as many people as I can as often as I can. And that's why I do these live streams, because I have a lot of fun, and it's great seeing everyone. Eat healthy this weekend, okay? I guess, well, I always end my streams, eat healthy and exercise, but I think we can skip this week, right? Because of Thanksgiving. Just enjoy the good food and have a good life, right? You know, with your family and things. So, happy Thanksgiving. I'll end it there. Thanks again. See you again soon.